Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, the Function of Honor, the Supreme Head of State, retired Brigadier Dr. Julius Leone.
Kindly be seated, everyone. A very good evening to you. Perhaps we could make a start in this lovely weather and on a lovely occasion.
Your Excellency, Dr. Julius President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, the First Lady, Madam Fatima Bio,
My Lord, the Chief Justice, the Honorable Chief Minister, Cabinet Ministers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Let me begin by stating the purpose of our gathering here this evening, which is to host the diplomatic and to acknowledge the distinguished presence of the following high-profile personalities. High Dr. Babatunde A. Ahunzi Amboy, the Director of Protocol in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, and I am the moderator for tonight's event. Your Excellency, Madam First Lady, our welcome remarks. Please join me, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome the First Lady, Madam Fatima.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, retired Brigadier Julius Leone, my dearest husband, members of the diplomatic and our development partners, honorable ministers here present, the Chief Minister, the Chief Justice, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Let me take this opportunity on behalf of our home, the People's Resident, and on behalf of His Excellency, the President, retired Brigadier Julius Leone, to welcome you all this evening. And first of all, to say Happy New Year to you all, because this is the first time we're meeting in 2022, and I pray that 2022 will be a successful year for both diplomatic, development partners and the government of Sierra Leone. We're here today for His Excellency to interact and network with the partners in Sierra Leone and to show appreciation to every one of you that you all matters and you are all very important in this country. His Excellency has asked that we host this dinner in your honor to say thank you. thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting his government, and thank you for helping in our democratic process in this country. At this point, I want to say you're all very welcome. Please eat, marry, and enjoy yourself as we all celebrate this day in the people's house, as it belongs to us and you and everyone in this country. Thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen.
We want to give another big round of applause for Madam First Lady, as she has just set the tone for tonight's occasion, which is indeed
one for network, but also to have to engage with each other as partners in development. Partners have to talk, they have to refresh themselves together, they have to enjoy themselves together. And this is real friendship. So this is why we're here tonight. And on behalf of all of us, we once more wish to extend our
sincere appreciation to His Excellency the President and Madam First Lady for hosting this event. Our next speaker is from the donor community, a very distinguished representative. He has over 20 years of experience in donor funding, programming, and the office of which he is charged to lead takes care of UN programs, common programming. And this is all in line with our common agenda and our common aspirations, in line with the Agenda 2030. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I now have the honor to invite Dr. Babatunde A. Ahunzi, the United Nations Resident Coordinator in Sierra Leone, to make a statement.
Your Excellency, retired Brigadier Dr. Julius, President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Your Excellency, Honorable Chief Minister, Honorable Ministers here present, Honorable Members of Parliament, representatives of state institutions, Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, United Nations, extended to all of us to attend, to be effective in mitigating the spread of COVID-19 while building up the emergency response capacity of the health system. Of course, with the support of international partners, including the United Nations country team. Sierra Leone registers today one of the lowest rates of confirmed COVID-19 cases and associated deaths in the world. Regretfully, the global measures to contain the spread of the virus has caused a disruption of markets, as well as supply chains, disrupted income-generating activities, and exacerbated food price increases. Based on a report on the socioeconomic impact of COVID in West Africa, published 2 days ago by ECOWAS in collaboration with the West Africa Sub-Regional Office of the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa and the United Nations World Food Programme, this deteriorating economic situation has adversely affected the food security and nutrition situation of women, men, and children. In 2021, more than 25 million people in West Africa were unable to meet their basic food needs, an increase of 34% compared to 2020. The socioeconomic impact of the pandemic will continue to affect populations' access to food and livelihoods, and it will be urgent for the government and partners to increase investments in social protection programs, in social safety nets, such as food, school meals, and other livelihood-enhancing programs, and at the same time accelerate the vaccination program. In this regard, the UN and development partners are working with the new leadership of NACOVA, the Ministry of Health, and other stakeholders to strengthen the national COVID response and mitigate the socioeconomic impact of this protracted pandemic. Recent events, which might not be completely unconnected with the socioeconomic impact of COVID-19, pose a serious threat to the democratic gains made by West Africa in the past 2 to 3 decades, and now make the region in general less predictable and less stable. This could have a negative impact on both local and foreign direct investments, which could end up worsening the economic situation, leading to a vicious cycle of crisis and instability. We should all work together and increase our efforts to sustain the democratic gains made by this region and reignite in its population the trust and confidence that democracy can deliver peace, social stability, and economic progress. Sierra Leone's leadership, an example in this regard, would be extremely valuable. Your Excellency, this amazing country is so easy to fall in love with, on account of its people's legendary hospitality, its breathtakingly beautiful landscape, its exemplarily high level of interreligious harmony. Sierra Leone's capacity to frequently punch above its weight is also admirable. As a recent example, the Leone Stars showed at the ongoing AFCON football tournament that national performance is ultimately not about population size. In fact, a native speaker of the English language told me the next day that the Leone Stars would have advanced further in the tournament if the referee at their last game had not allowed the opposing team to get away with so many agricultural tackles. Now, distinguished colleagues, if like me you are wondering how on earth agriculture and football tackles could be related, perhaps you may want to direct your quest for clarification in a discreet way to Her Excellency the British High Commissioner. But please do so after dinner. On that note, Your Excellency, I thank you and I wish you and the good people of Sierra Leone progress on all fronts in 2022. Thank you.
We want to thank Dr. Ahunzi very much for that succinct analysis highlighting the nature of our relationship with the international society. And the success stories, astounding as they are not surprising. As Sierra Leone, we indeed can tell our story, but our friends and partners can also tell it equally better. Thank you very much once more, Dr. Ahunzi, for those refreshing comments about Sierra Leone. Our next speaker tonight is a distinguished diplomat, having arrived in Sierra Leone since 2017. She has a knack for diplomatic and concise engagement, and she is one person that takes the lead in the diplomatic community in terms of engaging the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, engaging equally important interlocutors to ensure that the diplomatic community is comfortable and are able to carry out their duties effectively. She is quoted at one time to say this, and I quote, "Our countries are considered to be tested and positively evolving democracies, success stories of post-conflict recovery, and firmly committed to peace building and inclusive socio-economic development." All of these attributes which Dr. Ahunzi just highlighted. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is indeed the Ambassador of the Republic of Liberia and the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, and I now invite you to join me to welcome Her Excellency, Madam Musu Jaturu, to give a speech.
His Excellency President Julius Leone, Madam First Lady Mrs. Fatima Leone, Your Lordship the Chief Justice, the Chief Minister, members of the government, members of Diplomatic and Consular Corps, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is gratifying to be part of this dinner hosted by His Excellency the President and the First Lady Mrs. Fatima Leone. It is even more pleasing to have my fellow members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, along with other development partners of Sierra Leone in attendance. Let me, on their behalf, wish for Your Excellency, the government and the people of Sierra Leone, and your beautiful industrious wife, Mrs. Fatima Leone, our heartfelt best wishes for the new year. The gathering is a clear manifestation of the success being scored by your government in this campaign against COVID-19 pandemic. And it's worthy to note that the government of Sierra Leone, in collaboration with its development partners, is catering a shield of resistance against the virus. The vaccination campaign by VACOVAC is gradually achieving its intended purpose. On behalf of the Diplomatic Corps, I would like to extend our thanks and appreciation to the government of Sierra Leone for its support and guidance through the various ministries and agencies, especially Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, as we carry out our duties. Mr. President, we would also like to take this opportunity to express our deepest sympathy for the tragic loss of life last year due to the fire and other natural disasters. Rest assured, Excellency, that the Diplomatic Corps will provide, as deemed appropriate, necessary advice and assistance from our various countries. We have observed very keenly the strides of the Republic of Sierra Leone in making its developmental agenda more inclusive for all Sierra Leoneans, and it is our hope that as the country moves towards elections next year, Sierra Leoneans will see its renewed commitment and the political will to dialogue aimed at sustaining the peace as basis for credible elections 2023. Excellency, we would like to commend your government for amending the Public Order Act of 1965, thus cancelling the seditious libel law to allow for free speech in Sierra Leone. We also note the government's initiative to abolish the death penalty and the enforcement of other human rights law in the country. It is also commendable that Sierra Leone has moved upwards successfully in recent time in the global corruption country rankings published by Transparency International. We also recognize the government's efforts to empower women in the political, economic, and social sectors of the country by the launch of the Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment Policy, thereby highlighting the importance of women in national growth and development. His Excellency and Madam First Lady, once again we take this opportunity to thank you for hosting us at this dinner and wish for you, your family, government, and the people of Sierra Leone all the best for you as you steer the state affairs of your beautiful country. Thank you.
We want to extend our deepest appreciation to Ambassador Rule, the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, for those very fine comments. And of course, we will continue to value your friendship and that of the diplomatic community as you continue to conduct your duties. Of course, I am also confident when I say on behalf of His Excellency the President, Madam First Lady, and the government of the Republic of Sierra Leone, that the conduit ministry, which is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, will continue to be that place where all of your concerns are guaranteed to have the right place so that there will be no problems at all as you conduct your affairs. We will now listen to a son of the soil who has had a long tenure in experience in politics, in economics, in development partnership. He's considered a mover and a shaker in Sierra Leone, and he assumes one of the highest portfolios in the country. A well-respected gentleman, a household name, and someone who is a catalyst in terms of moving forward the agenda of His Excellency the President. Your Excellency, Madam First Lady, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I will waste no more time in introducing our next guest, next speaker, who is the Chief Justice, who is the Chief Minister of the Republic of Sierra Leone, the Honorable Jacob Jusu Safar.
Thank you very much, the moderator from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. As a matter of fact, I'm stepping in for the Minister of Foreign Affairs, who is on official engagement overseas. Your Excellency, the President, Dr. Julius, President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Madam First Lady, Mrs. Fatima Bio, my Lord, the Chief Justice, Cabinet Ministers present here, leader of government business, Your Excellency, the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, Your Excellency, members of the Diplomatic Corps, members of donor community, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first extend my deep and sincere gratitude to the diplomatic and donor community for your attendance this evening. Let me also extend on behalf of government, and in particular the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, my profound appreciation to Your Excellency and Madam First Lady for hosting tonight's event, which is dinner in honor of our friends, members of the Diplomatic Corps, as well as in honor of our development partners here in Sierra Leone. Your Excellency, Madam First Lady, distinguished guests, our presence here today further reaffirms our collective desire to collaborate and work together in the spirit of our common fraternity for the furtherance of our relations in the bilateral as well as multilateral spheres. Within this framework, the government of His Excellency, the President, Dr. Julius has consistently enacted concrete and well-meaning policies which align with foreign policy objectives of the country. The goal is to ensure that we derive maximum utility from our friends and partners, engage in meaningful partnerships at the bilateral and multilateral levels, but more importantly, engage with key stakeholders from the diplomatic community, as well as donor partners in the country for a mutually beneficial relationship. Through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which plays a key role in facilitating all these important aspects of diplomatic outreach, for the effective interaction with our global partners, we've been able to consolidate our gains from such engagement. In this perspective, your role as members of the diplomatic and donor community is key in terms of giving credence to effective global and regional engagement through friendly interaction, objective assessment, and timely communication on matters of mutual interest and concern. Let me extend my profound appreciation to the level of collaboration we've enjoyed as a country with the diplomatic community. Since our assumption of office, we've witnessed first-hand impressive display of diplomatic etiquette in daily interactions with the diplomatic community. Our doors have always been open to welcome you, but also to digest your views and concerns on matters affecting our two sides. I'm happy to state here tonight that our cooperation has been effectively maximized, and partnership will indeed grow from strength to strength in the months and years ahead. Your Excellency, Madam First Lady, our distinguished friends, our gathering here tonight further speaks to our commitment to revitalize engagement with the diplomatic and donor community, and this has indeed yielded positive outcomes. Through this effort, we've been able to progress on a number of pertinent global issues, such as effective management of resources in the fight against COVID pandemic, for which valuable, significant, and timely support was received from your countries. Let me therefore, on behalf of His Excellency the President, extend our heartfelt appreciation to you and through you to the government and people of your individual countries for the ongoing support towards the government and people of Sierra Leone. Even during the difficult period of COVID-19, we've been able to realize significant gains and we continue to work towards the spirit of genuine partnership. More importantly, trust and confidence in the government of His Excellency, Dr. Julius has been the hallmark of this relationship. Our Ministry of Foreign Affairs has played and continues to play a coordinating role in order to facilitate development through the establishment of enduring framework mechanisms to guarantee the furtherance of diplomatic but also trade and economic relations. The mode of cooperation will also be expanded through the consistent rollout of a number of joint commissions for cooperation and other agreements already signed by the government with a number of countries, in addition to the huge investment made in solidifying our bilateral relations. Your Excellency, Madam First Lady, our distinguished friends, let me add that Sierra Leone is now a respected player on the global stage. Consequently, at every available opportunity at international fora, we've been able to make the case for Sierra Leone, being a small nation, but also a successful case story for reimagining from war. Today, we strive to re-engineer our policy focus to concentrate on leadership in the international society through strategic engagement. This is why we are aiming high. Let me conclude by conveying my best wishes for a productive tenure in Sierra Leone, the most beautiful country in the world. in your roles as high representatives from your country, and to encourage you to enjoy Sierra Leone, but also to continue to deliver on your individual mandates. But of course, we are here to dine as well as to have a good time. So on that note, let me thank you once more for gracing this occasion, and to Your Excellency the President and the First Lady, my profound obligation for hosting this event. I thank you.
We want to thank you very much, the Honorable Chief Minister, for those delightful comments, which continue to speak to the nature of our relationship as a government with our diplomatic community, including the development partners. So once more, let us give a round of applause for the Chief Minister. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached the high point of this occasion, and now I have the distinct honor and privilege to invite our keynote speaker for tonight's event, who is His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Dr. Julius Maada Bio.
Let's sit down, please. Madam First Lady, the Honorable Chief Justice, the Chief Minister, and other ministers of government, Excellencies, members of the diplomatic and consular corps, our development partners, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Permit me to start by thanking each and every one of you present here this evening. Permit me to start by thanking each and every one of you present here today, friends, old and new, for joining us this evening to break bread and to share drinks. As you all know, eating together symbolically strengthens our special bond of friendship that we have built and are nurturing through mutual trust, respect, and cooperation. We are committed to further enhancing mutual understanding, perceptions, and trust. We believe those are germane to sustainable and productive relations among our countries and institutions. In a world confronted with persistent and emerging challenges from COVID-19, climate change, and its attendant impact, irregular migration, human trafficking, cybercrime, international crime, terrorism, to concerns about good governance, human rights and security, and peace and development, there is more need and not less to stay actively engaged in global and regional dialogues that strengthen our collective hand in making lives better for our people. We believe that with mutual cooperation and respect among our country and friendly nations and partners, our aspiration and hard work towards achieving the sustainable development goals for our citizens is possible. We will therefore seek to increase our global diplomatic footprint by seeking to deepen and broaden our cooperation with existing friends, while also making new friends and working with new partners across the globe. We have been working to consolidate and enrich our democracy, and we have undertaken a significant and unprecedented number of institutional, governance, and right reforms to that end. We are the fourth most peaceful country in Africa, and we lead regional indices for our fight against corruption, investment in human capital development, expanding gender empowerment and representation, fostering democratic freedoms, and in protecting and promoting rights of persons. We seek to expand trade and economic relations. We offer a resource-rich, predictable, and inviting investment environment where all investments are guaranteed protection and promotion. Through our Development Partnership Committee Forum, we seek to strengthen intense strategic collaboration with our development partners and friends. We want more engagement on implementing our medium-term national development plan. We are grateful that targeted development assistance intervention by our partners are helping improve lives and communities, from sanitation, healthcare, potable water, energy access, infrastructure, service delivery, to social safety and social protection. We also believe that establishing joint commission for cooperation agreement with our friends and facilitating more engagement across several areas of cooperation are central to the strategic plan developed for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. As we have indicated, we are ready to share ideas and perspectives with global institutions and partners. We will also work with our friends and nations in order to embed sustainable development in Sierra Leone. COVID-19 has taught us that only by strengthening cooperation and collaboration can we tackle and prevail over global existential threats and safely navigate the difficult pathway to building back better. There's no gainsaying that our common problems and common interests require more diplomacy, not less. To that end, we will soon commission our first ever diplomatic academy that we train foreign service officers in Sierra Leone and across the sub-region. It will serve as a center of excellence for foreign and diplomatic studies in the sub-region, and it will equip our foreign service officers with the highest skill level to engage in global diplomacy. New issues demand new approaches and new expertise. COVID-19 has taught us also that mastering new technologies and gaining proficiency in using new tools will only enhance our diplomatic trade craft. Sierra Leone will therefore train its foreign service cadre to meet these new demands and expectations. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Sierra Leone believes that it can contribute its fair share to dialogue on global and regional peace and development. In that spirit, Sierra Leone has received the mandate of ECOWAS community as the sole candidate for a seat at the United Nations Security Council in the non-permanent category. Clearly, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our bid tells a powerful story that Sierra Leone is a successful case of post-war reconstruction and peace building. That in peace, the voices of small nations matter at the highest levels of conversation and decision making, because only those small nations can best articulate their experiences and concerns. As coordinator of the Committee of 10 on the reform of the United Nations Security Council, Sierra Leone leads advocacy to address historical injustices and advance the common African position as presented in the Eswatini Consensus and South Declaration. In West Africa, we live in a rapidly changing neighborhood where concerns about democratic governance are complicated by complex security and humanitarian threats. Events in Guinea, Mali, and now in Burkina Faso illustrate the urgent need to work together to peacefully reinstate democratic civilian rule and restore peace and stability. Stable and thriving West Africa will contribute to regional and overall global peace and prosperity. Ultimately, the goal of our diplomacy is to ensure peace and prosperity in Sierra Leone and across the world. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude with a quick word of reflection on the views of long-standing American diplomat William Bond in his 10 parting thoughts to America's diplomats. He stated, and I quote, "Diplomacy may not be the world's oldest profession, but it remains one of the most misunderstood. People," he went on, "question its relevance and dismiss its practitioners, especially when international affairs are rocked by powerful and tumultuous transitions. But as for us, leaders of government, we need professionals with the requisite skills and knowledge who can help us make sense and navigate a bewildering and very complex world. You are indeed precious as diplomats. Therefore, this dinner is dedicated to you. This dinner celebrates you, the professionals. I want to thank you once more for everything you are doing to help us navigate our complex world and promoting good governance and trade, in fostering cultural understanding and mutual respect, and in pursuing peace and prosperity for our beloved nation. Thank you for your attention. Long live Sierra Leone.
We're happy, of course, to mention our obligation to Your Excellency for those very reassuring words, stating Sierra Leone's position and setting, of course, the trajectory of our foreign policy goals, but as well as the tenets of our national interest. Once more, ladies and gentlemen, I implore you to give another round of applause for His Excellency the President. Thank you very much. And as has been rightly stated, it's a night of friendship, a night to network, a night to engage, but also an evening to dine. So on that note, I want to formally announce the end of this formal occasion Our next item would be dinner. So, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of His Excellency the President and Madam First Lady, let me once again extend our warmest appreciation for your coming, and we wish you all a very pleasant evening. I would now like to invite you to dinner, which is buffet, and our protocol officers will usher you to where food is served. Ladies and gentlemen, have a good evening and enjoy yourselves. Thank you.